All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something that, well, a lot of us have probably seen. Maybe you've even done it yourself. It's that thing where someone gets hurt and they just go completely quiet. It's not about being mad or sad in the usual way. No, this is something much deeper, and we're going to unpack the really complex psychology behind it.
Just think about that for a second. You know that person. The one who, when they're really hurt, doesn't explode. They just disappear. The conversation doesn't end with a big bang, it just fades out. It's a pattern that can be so confusing if you're on the outside looking in. But today, we're going to take a look at what's actually happening on the inside.
So, we usually think about emotional reactions in pretty simple terms, right? But this quiet withdrawal, it's not one of the usual suspects. It's something else entirely. It's a third path, and it's way more complex and way more misunderstood than you might think.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Look at the contrast. Most people, when they get hurt, react outwardly. They either explode, they yell, they confront, they make their pain known, or they crumble. They break down, they cry, they show their vulnerability. Both are very visible. But this third option, disappearing, it's a totally inward motion. You pull back, you get quiet, and you create this space that feels almost impossible for others to get into. It's not about not feeling. It's all about how that feeling gets managed.
So where in the world does this come from? Well, this isn't some choice a person makes in the heat of the moment. It's much more like a language they learned a long, long time ago. It's a response pattern that's been deeply wired into them, and the roots go way back to their earliest experiences.
The psychologist John Gottman, his research gave us a huge piece of this puzzle. He identified something he called emotion-dismissing parenting. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pattern where a kid's feelings, their sadness, their anger, their hurt, are constantly met with dismissal or maybe even punishment or just nothing at all. The message that kid gets is crystal clear. Your emotions are a problem.
And this wiring, it gets seared into the nervous system through a really predictable process. Step 1, a child shows they're hurt. Step 2, the parent dismisses it over and over again. And what happens? The child's brain learns a critical lesson. Showing vulnerability leads to more pain, the pain of being ignored or shamed. So to protect itself, the nervous system adapts, and a core belief gets cemented deep down inside. My feelings are a threat to my safety.
And this is the part you absolutely have to understand. From the outside, this silence can look like they're being cold, or they don't care, or they're just giving up on the relationship. But from the inside, it feels like the only safe option. It is a profound act of self-preservation. It's a shield they built to stop a very familiar kind of pain from ever happening again.
But it is a huge mistake to think this silence is passive or empty. You might think nothing's going on, but trust me, there is a massive amount of emotional and mental work happening just beneath that calm surface.
I mean, this silence is active. It's working overtime. It's trying to contain what feels like overwhelming grief. It's managing the expectation that, hey, no one's going to get it anyway. It's a way of holding on to some dignity when you feel like you've got nothing else left. And all the while, there's this quiet safety check constantly running in the background. Is this person safe enough to talk to? Or am I going to be made to feel even smaller for just trying?
And here's something that is so easy to miss. This pattern, it's not usually set off by some huge dramatic fight. No, it's fueled by this slow buildup of tiny, unspoken hurts. Let's use the story of Julia to really see how this plays out.
So imagine Julia. She's at a party with her partner, and he makes a little joke at her expense. It's small. Maybe nobody else even really noticed. And on the surface, what does she do? She laughs it off, right? She plays along, keeps the evening moving smoothly for everyone. Later, they're driving home, and he can kind of sense a little shift. He asks her, "Hey, are you okay?" And she says, "Yep, I'm fine." And in a way, she believes it, because she has already performed this practiced, automatic move of taking that little sting of hurt, folding it up neatly, and tucking it away somewhere deep inside.
But then, 3 weeks later, there's this new, weird distance between them that neither of them can quite explain. It grew from something so small it was never even talked about. It never even had a name. And that's the danger of this pattern. It creates these deep cracks in a relationship from hurts that never get addressed because, well, they just seem too small to even mention.
And there's a real physical cost to doing this. Research from psychologist James Gross has shown that when you suppress the outward expression of an emotion, the internal stress response actually gets louder. Your body holds on to all that tension that your face isn't showing. The hurt doesn't just disappear, it just goes underground where no one else can see it.
Okay, So this brings us to a really critical part of this whole process. That silence, it's not just a shield, it's also a test. It's a quiet, often unconscious test of the entire relationship. When a person like this goes quiet, they start to watch. They're observing, they're waiting. They're watching to see if the other person even notices that subtle shift in the energy between them. They're looking for any sign, any evidence at all, that their inner world matters, even when they aren't screaming about it.
So what is this test? What is the one thing they are desperately hoping to find in the other person's response?
And here it is. This is the absolute heart of it all. The test is to see if you can see their pain without them having to perform it for you. Can you sense that they're hurting without them having to cry or yell or have a complete breakdown? For someone who learned their whole life that their real feelings were just an inconvenient performance, being seen quietly, well, that can be one of the most healing experiences in the world.
Okay, so now that we get the why behind all this, let's switch gears and talk about the how. How do you bridge this silent gap? How do you create a safe space to reconnect, whether you're the one who goes quiet or you're the person who loves them?
All right, if you're listening to this and you recognize yourself, the first step is to just honor that strategy. Your silence was a brilliant adaptation. It protected you when you needed it. It was a survival tool for your past. The big question to ask yourself now is, does it still serve me? Or has the shield that once kept you safe become a wall that's now costing you the very connection you want more than anything?
And if you love someone who does this, your approach is absolutely crucial. You have to resist that powerful urge to fill the silence with noise, to push them for an immediate explanation. Their quiet is not apathy, it's self-protection. Your one and only task in that moment is to make yourself a safe harbor. Be patient, be present, be gentle. Show them with quiet consistency that you're right there when they're ready.
And I really have to stress this. A big apology, some grand gesture, it won't fix this. This is about retraining a nervous system that has been wired for danger its whole life. And the only thing that can do that is small, consistent, patient presence. That is what slowly, over time, teaches the brain that this time, with this person, safety is actually a real option.
So we'll end with this question to really sit with. For those of you who go quiet, it's worth asking yourself, is your silence still the shield that keeps you safe? Or has it slowly, without you even realizing it, become a wall that's keeping you alone? It's a powerful question for sure. And the answer, well, the answer might just change everything.